Let's check out the problems with Evil Dead Rise. So, we got some campers spending a relaxing weekend in a giant piece of Toblerone, and we find out that one of the campers, Jessica, is sick, like Evil Dead sick. She starts to recite her friend's book word for word without looking before falling off the bed. Yeah, totally not dead. Jessica then goes full on deadite, giving her mate a new haircut before heading outside to get a closer look at her boyfriend's drone. Ooh. He jumps in after her but then decides to quickly head back to shore. Jessica then rises up out of the lake in a pretty awesome looking title sequence. So far so good. We then jump to one day earlier in LA. A mom, Ellie, and her 3 kids are living in a high-rise apartment. Okay, kids. In an Evil Dead movie. One of the kids is woke as fuck, the other is a hipster DJ, and the little girl likes to decapitate freaky looking dolls. Like she actually giggles whilst doing it. The doorbell rings and we get a little jump scare when Ellie's sister Beth comes to visit. The 2 sisters aren't exactly mega close. Ellie's husband recently left her and Beth has been too caught up in her own rock and roll world of being a guitar technician to check in on her sis, which really sucks. While the sisters are catching up, the kids are sent out to get pizza and upon return they park the car in the underground garage. Okay, none of these kids look old enough to drive. Suddenly an earthquake hits the area but the only casualties are the poor pizzas. That's a problem right there. The earthquake opens up a mysterious hole in the foundations. The apartments we find out used to be an old bank. And the blonde kid, Dan, goes all Goonies and finds a hidden vault. So instead of ransacking the place for, money, he ignores the Bruce Campbell cameo photo and instead takes some old vinyl before being interrupted by a strange creaking sound. A large crucifix falls, revealing a strange room that's filled with small crucifixes hanging from the ceiling. Within the dark room, a cracked tomb reveals the Book of the Dead. Returning upstairs to the apartment, the kids reveal the fate of the poor pizza.
Oh, honey, I love you guys so much more than pizza.
Yeah, you're just lying to yourself. I know you love that pizza more than your kids. Dan tries to open the book and accidentally pricks his finger. His blood soaks into the book and causes it to open. Inside they find cute drawings of puppies and kittens. No wait, sorry, it's demon shit, my bad. Woke kid Bridget freaks the fuck out and tells Dan to put the book back in the morning, so Dan plays the vinyl he found instead. The vinyl is a recording of a meeting of priests that have found one of the 3 volumes of the Book of the Dead. What sort of hipster bullshit is this? Why would priests record directly onto vinyl? Why would anybody record directly onto vinyl, which is the most expensive and inconvenient way ever to record something? The recording then goes on to, of course, chant the summoning passage of the book. Fair play to Dan though, because he does try in vain to stop the chant playing out, but unfortunately the evil is too strong and is summoned into the world. It promptly goes about seeking its first victim, which happens to be Dan's mother, Ellie. In an urban style parallel to the original's infamous tree rape scene, Ellie is attacked and held up by cables and wires from the elevator. I feel this scene kinda cops out though, and we don't get to see any boobies. The building is then plunged into darkness, and the kids have barely got any time to light a few Kandarian scented candles, before Mom returns to show everyone a super quick and easy way to make scrambled eggs. She moves creepily towards them before throwing up chunky milk and then passing out. Probably a case of food poisoning. I mean, she's not much of a cook. Dan and Beth drag her off to hospital while the girls stay inside. The elevator looks, less than inviting, so they head for the stairs, which in true Evil Dead tradition are completely destroyed. Whether by the earthquake or the Kandarian demon, it's unclear. With no escape, it's now too late for Ellie, and back at the apartment she seems to have passed away. Neighbours gather around to mess around with her eyes before hatching a plan that involves trying to get to an old fire escape ladder in one of the abandoned rooms. So they head off to do just that, leaving Beth with her supposedly dead sister, who isn't quite dead yet. Ellie wakes up and they put her in the bath to cool her down, but she jumps out quicker than a bath time dog and lets out a piercing scream. A frightened Dan calls out to her and she replies,
"Mummy's with the maggots now."
"Ah, cool, so she's a Slipknot fan now." Ellie Deadite then attacks them with a shard of mirror in hand. Nice catch, Beth. She then turns to her daughter and says,
I'm free now. Free from all you titty-sucking parasites.
I fucking knew she loved that pizza more than her kids. Ellie launches herself at Bridget and tries to tattoo the Slipknot logo on her eyeball, but Dan saves her with a wrestling classic, a steel chair across the back. Ooh yeah! Gabriel then arrives to see what all the noise is about, and it turns out to be the last thing that he sees. Ellie coughs the eye back up, straight into this kid's mouth. Great, just what the movie needed, more kids. Luckily, Beth shuts the door on everyone and they barricade themselves inside the apartment. Beth checks out the local entertainment through the door spy hole and she sees one of the kids attacked by Ellie Deadite. Off screen. Gabriel pops up again only to die instantly, and the smug Ellie demon is then blasted by a shotgun wielding neighbour, who's then in turn re-attacked by an unfazed Ellie. Damn, this spy hole's more entertaining than fucking YouTube. The kids start to figure out that the book might be responsible for what's happening, so Danny shows it to Beth. Meanwhile, around the house, Ellie Demon uses her non-demon voice to tempt Cassie to the door, and Bridget's impromptu Slipknot tattoo shows signs of mild irritation. Ellie somehow tricks the little moron into opening the door, even though she's covered in blood and stood right next to a decapitated corpse. Luckily though, the catch was on and Beth manages to repel Ellie Deadite back outside. Unfortunately, they have more immediate problems when Bridget's Slipknot tattoo becomes fully infected and turns her into another Deadite, who has a lot to learn about the art of drinking wine. And just like Darth Vader should never say the word Padme, no Deadite should ever say the word tummy.
I don't like having things inside my tummy.
Bridget attacks Beth with a fucking cheese grater, and I'm almost tempted to take a problem point off, but I won't. Beth then lays her out with a frying pan, but she doesn't stay down for long and chases Dan into Cassie's bedroom, who impales her with, well, I don't know what the fuck that is it? It looks like a sharp stick with a doll's head attached. Why is this in a child's room? I don't know who's more fucked up, the demons or little Cassie. After bagging and tagging Bridget, Beth has an idea.
I want to listen to that final.
I mean, this is probably not the best time to listen to Led Zeppelin, but whatever gets you through this nightmare, I guess. On the vinyl, Beth learns the fate of the priests who studied the Book of the Dead.
For the words I uttered have unleashed a demonic entity beyond my darkest nightmare.
Outside again, Ellie Demon spies her way back into the house using the ventilation system, and at the same time Bridget Demon dons her best Halloween ghost costume and stalks the surviving kids. She flies towards Danny and sticks him right in the arm before dyeing his blonde hair red. Dan quickly retaliates with an improvised flamethrower. Beth, meanwhile, is still listening to Led Zeppelin, and it's not so much good times, but more bad times, as she discovers that not even dismembering the demons will stop them. Not sure why, as it seems to work for Ash just fine. Plus, if you can't kill them, then where are the priest Deadites now? Who pressed that fucking vinyl and buried it in the bank vault? Ellie Demon, however, interrupts these questions and launches Beth into the next room, where she finds a blood-soaked Dan dying on the floor. Cool hair, bro. Ellie attacks again, pinning Beth down and discovering her secret.
2 souls?
But before the demon can kill Beth's unborn child, Cassie slides over a pair of scissors that Beth promptly shoves up her nose. They both run into the hallway and attempt to get to the fire escape ladder that Gabriel was trying to reach earlier. Beth grabs the neighbour's boomstick from the floor and aims at the padlock, but she's interrupted by a persistent Ellie, so she shoots her instead, blowing her leg clean off. Ellie Deadite recovers and tries to trick young Cassie again, but this time she hasn't got a leg to stand on, and Cassie sees through the deception. Beth goes to finish Ellie off, but the rest of the Deadites emerge with a chorus of the classic Deadite sing-along song, Dead by Dawn. Come on, you know you want to sing along.
Dead by dawn! Dead by dawn! Dead by dawn!
Beth and Cassie forget about the relatively safe sounding fire escape and head into the elevator of doom, which immediately starts filling up with blood. The Deadites meanwhile get a little hands-on and start performing a transformation ritual that turns them into a monster mash. They then crash the party elevator that's now almost completely filled with blood. Watch that weight restriction. Now that's a blood elevator to rival The Shining. Beth and Cassie head for Ellie's car and it looks as if their nightmare is over as the car starts perfectly and Beth drives towards the gate. The gate starts to open, but the car gets stuck in a crack caused by the earthquake and the spinning wheels start to smoke up the place, which is great for hiding any monsters that might be coming after you. The Deadite Monster Mash races towards the car but finds it empty. Are they just hiding on the other side? Why didn't the Monster Mash just go through the car or look around it? Beth slowly heads up to the front of the car where Monster Mash appears and they run and hide at the back of the car. How is this thing not finding them? It was running faster than fucking Usain Bolt 3 seconds ago, and now it can't navigate around the fucking car. They create some distance from the car, but the gate begins to shut, so they both head towards it with Monster Mash in tow. Beth, who's been practicing her Indiana Jones role, makes it under, but Cassie just sort of lamely falls over and gets swept up in all sorts of arms and legs, leaving Beth to try furiously to break back into the garage. Monster Mash grabs a chainsaw stash but is shot by Beth's boomstick.
Come get some.
Hey, that's Ash's line. Unfazed, Monster Mash launches its chainsaw at Beth, who loses her footing and her boomstick. Monster Mash then climbs up on top of a wood chipper at the back of the van, turns it on and pulls Beth towards the whirling grinders. Cassie then manages to turn the chipper off. Wait, Monster Mash can't multitask? It's got like 4 heads and more arms than I've got fucking fingers. Why can't it watch 2 things at once? Rather than going after Cassie or running towards Beth, Monster Mash sits quietly in front of the wood chipper, like in the actual tray bit where you feed shit into it. It just sits there waiting to receive a chainsaw to the face. Cassie then obviously turns the chipper back on whilst Beth lunges with her chainsaw. The chipper grinds Monster Mash into a graveyard smash. That's then sprayed all over the car park like red horse shit. Gory but dumb. Only Ellie Deadite remains now, but not for long, as Beth performs a vicious chainsaw lobotomy and boots her head into the chipper. The next morning we see Jessica heading to her car. Remember, she's the drone lover from the intro. She sees a fuckload of blood everywhere, begins to panic, and is attacked by the Kandarian demon, which brings us full circle to the beginning of the movie. So I guess you could watch this thing in a continuous loop if you really wanted to. Without Sam Raimi at the helm and Bruce Campbell in front of the camera, it was always going to be hard to capture that Evil Dead spirit. And whilst it's a fairly decent horror movie, Evil Dead Rise just didn't quite feel like Evil Dead for me. Let me know if you agree with these problems or not, or if you have any problems of your own that you want to add.